What are the best Gaelic football celebrations of all time? Well, we threw it out to the public on Twitter, and there was any amount of responses, as you can imagine. People absolutely love this sort of stuff, and we said it's rather to compare with Tardelli, who of course had that famous celebration at World Cup 1982. We've done a hurling video already, so you can check that out too. But this is specific to football. Is there anything that comes to mind straight away with you when you're thinking of football celebrations?
Yeah, very simple one, but I always loved when Colin Corkery got that point against Kerry in a Munster final replay, I think it was, and he knew the game was over. He knew they'd done enough, and he just calls out like that. He comes out, and the finger is just moving around like that, like an airplane kind of moving around. And I don't know, maybe it's because he was such a kind of character and such a gifted player as well. Something so simple as that. That's something that I'd always do. The rare time I might score a goal or something, even if we're poking around, you'd go and do that kind of celebration.
What about Conor Mortimer though? You can't not reflect back on this. And when I threw it out there, it was Owen Keane who responded and said extra marks for the incorrect spelling. But anyway, Michael Jackson had just passed away, and he pulls up the jersey with R.I.P. Mahal Jackson. He actually put in. Maybe that was.
Micheál, of course, he's initially from Galway or somewhere out around Spiddle or something like that, is he?
Yeah, he must be. But that was a fair old decision to do that, and you would not see that in GA in general. But I think Conor is maybe the sort of lad who doesn't mind too much now if he puts his head above the parapet. You know, the blonde hair, all that kind of stuff. So it probably doesn't bother him too much. But to be fair, it's fairly audacious to do it, and probably you need that bit of a mindset to really pull something like that off. Which brings us on to Joe Brolly and that famous celebration in 1997 against Tyrone.
Oh yeah, like imagine being in the Mayo dressing room the day Mortimer. Imagine you see him putting that on, and you're like, oh no, you're a serious character or something like that, and you're like, what is this lad at? What sort of a lad are we dealing with here? And like the chance of him, like he was only going to take it, like show it if he scored a goal, I assume. Do you know what I mean? That was the only time where you're going to have the camera just on him or whatever. And in fairness to him, he got the opportunity to do it, and he did it. It is one of those kind of legendary celebrations. The Brolly one, I just looked back on it there before we started. Sure. It's again, imagine what the Tyrone cornerbacks and fullbacks are thinking. It's just like, I'm gonna kill this lad. This lad is making an absolute show of us, blowing kisses to the crowd. And it wasn't one, it was two, three, four.
Oh, it was
the
slow and
whole
deliberate.
way around the back of the goals.
That was a lad saying, Tyrone, I don't like you, and I'm going to absolutely so into you and absolutely everyone who's watching. But then, the other end of the field, not long after, Matty McLeanan burst the net with a drop shot goal from the 14 or the 21. And he was obviously furious, and he started doing that as well. So he was getting his own back.
Yeah, but you can see him, Shane, as well. You can see his fists are like that when he scores a goal. It's almost like you would have loved. He's probably not your typical forward in the sense that he looks like he has this crazy aggression. You know what I say? He's got that crazy look in his eyes. Imagine if he'd been back the other end of the field, like Brolly wouldn't have made it out past the square. He would have been decked on the ground. That's what it looked like to me, anyway.
Would you have much regard for the celebration from Kay Curran on Frankie Dolan when they won the Club All Ireland, beating Ballymun that time? He fairly locked lips on him. It's a small bit disturbing as far as I'm concerned, in how greedily he's gobbled down Frankie's face.
Over Pierce's, and they came up against each other in Roscommon final a couple of years ago, and I just kind of was all like, I had it in my head that, geez, if I could get talking to the two of them here, we get the picture of the two of them kissing and put a big riff down the middle of it or something like that. But that was the image, that was nearly the image of that All-Ireland final, like, and that was Asher, that was cake, really. Like, that was the exuberance and kind of character he brought to the game. But yeah, a brilliant one. Yeah, I don't know if Frankie would have thanked him much for it, but it was a great celebration.
What about Seamus Darby's celebration? That was pure, like, childlike. You know, in the hurling video you talked about Tommy Walsh's celebration that time he scored a goal against Tipperary in 03. But the way Seamus Darby just keeps jumping up and down, and he's absolutely loving it. Is that one that you recall fondly or think of fondly, or is it all that memorable to you? Is it just because of what it meant more so than the actual celebration?
No, it's such a simple thing. It's kind of just like a little jig. He jumps up and down. That would be definitely an iconic one from an Offaly point of view. That would definitely be the one that would probably stick out most. Yeah, it's probably because a lot of these goals, while they might have been good goals or good celebrations, like no goal, regardless or in terms of importance, was bigger than Derby's. So you saw that on loop more than any other goal. And between the commentary and then the goal and then the celebration, the little jump up and down, and he's kind of like, usually you're swallowed up after scoring a goal like that. He's kind of left in a splendid isolation for a second or two, and he just jumps up and down. No, that's an iconic one for me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I mentioned the whole bottle blonde look already with Conor Mortimer. What about Mark Vaughan, who of course played for Dublin throughout the noughties? Fairly sticking it into his man against Laois, so there's no backward step on that one. Don't know what kind of led up to it, but you'd imagine there'd been a few verbals involved. Anything else kind of come to mind in terms of like what your favourite would be, something personal?
Something that came up a couple of days ago when I was just looking through different videos, and you had seen it as well, was Joe Kavanagh's celebration for Cork. I think it was in a Munster Championship match. He was obviously a brilliant forward, real good kind of goal scorer, poacher in around the goals, and he got a goal and he just lost it completely and did like a Klinsmann style celebration on his knees on the ground with the hands kind of like this. And it's not something you usually see in the GA. It was a pretty good goal, but the celebration definitely topped it. That would definitely be something that stands out. And we talked about in the hurling video, we talked about the Joe Canning "You Can't See Me," and of course Rian O'Neill from Armagh did something similar a couple of years ago as well. I love the wrestling reference. I'd be a sucker for that one.
As some viewers have complained about before, you do like going on about. I'd have to say my favourite one has to be Gregory McCarran back in 1996 against Cavan. Someone put it up as a GIF online, down GA memories, so I'll just play it there so you can see it. Gets the goal, and look at that. He's really going for it. Absolutely loving it. I think that's an absolutely brilliant celebration.
Against the
What year is that now?
I can't actually think. I'm just thinking off the top of my head here. And was it Andy Moore? Did Andy Moore get a crucial goal against the Dubs and just walk around the back of the goal and stare at the hill?
Can't remember off the top of my head. I'm sure one of the viewers will. And see, there's the danger now with trying to put a lad on the spot. I don't know is the answer, and it probably is. And you're having a brain fart.
I think it might have been Andy Moore, but not 100%. But something like that. It's just like going into the hill. What's the temptation to give it? Do the John Milan, as you said in the hurling video, and maybe give the two fingers or totally lose the run of yourself. But what would they hate even more than bigging it up? Total silence and just kind of nonchalance of sticking your chest out. Something like that is class. It's kind of an understated brilliance to it.
Yeah, and if anyone out there knows off the top of your head what it is, comment and let us know. And let us know as well what your favourite celebration is. Anything else to add before we go?
No. I hope during the coronavirus and this pandemic that people become even more creative, and whenever we get back, you'd imagine like lads will be that exuberant and that full of energy that when we get back at it, they'll be going absolutely large. Even when they win a free, when they score a free, when they score a point, when they score a goal, that they'll be going mad. So hopefully the creativity in people will flow after the coronavirus finishes up for us.